Okay, hey guys, welcome to the Negozju podcast. Today we're doing a series where we're collaborating with the Malta Startup Space. The Malta Startup Space is a Facebook group full of local entrepreneurs that are expats, Maltese, doing all kinds of crazy and interesting projects. Today we have Mark, his member from LEET, one of the founders from LEET. How are you today, Mark?
Not bad, thank you. Not bad.
Thanks for coming. You also wrote a blog about LEET, and it's on the startupgateway.com website.
Exactly.
So that's been really great to get to know you from there. How are you today? You're good?
Not bad. Can't complain.
Do you like doing podcasts like this? Is it the first one you're doing?
I'm usually the quiet one, so.
Okay. At LEET, what's your role?
So I'm the lead designer over there.
Designer.
Doing all the UI and UX, marketing stuff, all the graphics basically, in a nutshell.
That's it. And you actually work on it with a team. There's a couple of members as well.
Exactly, we're all working together.
How did you all get together?
We came together through Meta, so we were during an accelerator. Originally as two startups, but then eventually we got involved with Athlete and we started working together.
Cool. This is your first startup?
No, I haven't. I did other startups as well.
Nice. And you think the doing previous experiences helped you in forming
Yes,
LEET?
I mean, I love startup environments in general. I mean, compared to, like, say, established companies. You have the certain dynamics going on. You wear multiple hats since you don't have, you're limited in funds and stuff. So you usually don't have that one person dedicated to a certain job. So you get to learn much more, and you grow better in general, both as a self.
Yeah. Why? What skills do you have that make you useful in a startup?
Because the thing is that apart from the design aspect, I come from a very humble beginning. So I've come to a point where €1, for instance, I can stretch it out as much as possible in terms of marketing, in terms of everything, rather than just have tons of cash and just throw it into marketing and build a team. So you get to, in a way, like you're forced to learn new skills without even
You're also involved in the development of the app, right?
Andrew does the development.
Okay.
But since I have a development background, it helps us communicate very well.
I think that's something that's important, to have a bit of a multidisciplinary point of view and be able to communicate with everyone on the team.
Exactly.
Yeah, tell us about LEET and what's it about, and what's your goal with it?
So LEET is a platform that helps people find players and set up five-a-side games.
I've heard that a couple of others had existed or exist in the market. Why is LEET different?
So we managed to, or let's say we're working on it, but we managed to gamify the entire thing. And also we're very, very community-based. So it's not just like going there and finding a game and finding players for your game, but it's also a matter of having that really nice community where you can go to, mingle around, and you get attached eventually.
Yeah, like kind of communities, kind of thing, if I had to compare it, if you had to compare it to anything else, would there be something that you would compare it to?
Compared to our competitors, it's like having a car club where you just went there, you asked for a problem, and you got it solved, sort of thing. But there's no real communication. Versus, like, if you have a community of other people with the same interests, then you start hanging out automatically. Even though at the moment, due to COVID, it's a bit
difficult, but
exactly.
I did go inside the app and I found that you do have a very social element to how you design the app. So you're able to connect with other friends, see what other five-a-sides are going on. So that's all part of the community feel that you're going
exactly.
for. Obviously, COVID did change your plans a bit. Did you plan on launching last year, or when did you actually launch?
We launched a couple of months ago, but then eventually, because of COVID, we kind of slowed down. Because even though, games are not happening, we're still like working in the background and like improving stuff and building new features. So then once everything opens again, hopefully we'll have a better product than we originally had.
That's it. I think I noticed you were also building a bit more of a database of people who are interested in the product.
Exactly.
And then you'll just start pushing out as soon as things are open again.
Exactly. But
before, like 2-3 months ago, there was already some five-a-sides happening through the app, yes?
Yes. we had successful setups of games, and they actually happened. So that's a really good thing, because it means that people are looking for such a platform, and it's growing slowly.
So can I meet new people if I'm using LEET?
Yes, because the thing is that it gives you capabilities of both setting up your own games, and you can also join other people's games. So even if you don't have, let's say you just arrived in Malta from abroad, you can download the app, find the game, and join easily. So you start making friends automatically.
That's good. That's good. And is there anything about LEET that you want to tell people about?
It's awesome, I guess. I mean, it's a new concept in a way. I mean, if anyone wants to try it out, they could just visit beta.leet.mt and have a look.
Is five-a-sides the kind of market you want to stay in, or do you have any plans for the future?
I mean, we do have plans for expansion, but we would like to first finalize and make sure we have the mechanics in place, and then grow from there.
Yeah, it seems like you take a very technical approach to how you're designing and developing LEET, and it's when I'm using the app, I feel like it's being built in a way with the user in mind. How do you go about
exactly
figuring out what features people want?
Exactly, one of the things, we never really assume what people want, sort of thing. So what we do, while we're developing or designing, we always get feedback from our community. So they would like extra features, or they don't like something in terms of mechanics, or if a certain button is not working correctly. So we go in and we change according to our feedback. So that way we know that at least if there is say 10 features, they're the most wanted, rather than creating 20 features and knowing that half of them won't be used. So then we dedicate more time into perfecting those 10. Do
you have any support to actually figure out how to do these things? Or did you learn everything by yourself?
Self-taught mostly. So
did you go to university?
I mean, I attended MCAST at some point, art and design. Great. But then eventually, you can only grow so much when you're working on the actual projects and you have real life scenarios.
So at some point you decided that I want to go full time into this.
Exactly.
What other startups have you done in the past?
I was involved in a couple of other startups. I started off first having my own agency, but that was it worked, but it's okay. Then I expanded into video games eventually. There was a startup in the Netherlands, and we formed it together. And that eventually, it didn't really go as planned, but I learned a lot from it. Let's put it that way. And then mostly, rather than having a founding position, I've been involved in a couple of startups as a freelancer, and I just help them off with graphics and stuff. But I'm still part of the team, but not really like a shareholder in a way.
Uh-huh.
And now my latest two are is Nighthouse Studios, which we do video games, artificial intelligence, and other cool stuff.
Those are some very interesting areas to go and explore, actually.
Yes.
And that's all self-taught from you, so you went into that field completely self-taught.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you always been very excited about technology? And
yes, very, very. I have a lot of interest in robotics, artificial intelligence, in general, technology in general. I really love the fact that it eases our life. And usually, I mean, not now because of COVID, but I'm usually a digital nomad, so I love traveling around the world and working from my laptop. And that can't happen without technology, right?
No. So you describe yourself as a digital nomad.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
Awesome. Where have been your top spots that you've been to work from?
I love Malaysia. I love Singapore. I've worked from there a couple of times. I love Japan. I was supposed to get stuck in Japan just before COVID, but my flight got cancelled just last minute.
So you would have been stuck there with no flight back home.
Exactly, that was the plan. So I could stay there, find a nice small prefecture somewhere and refine my Japanese.
When you're nomading, do you meet any other digital nomads?
Yes, a lot.
Do any of them inspire you?
I mean, I have a couple of friends which I really, really look up to. I'm actually meeting one next month, actually, in Dubai. So
and does the community kind of they become your friends, and you also start bouncing ideas on?
Exactly.
Does it work that way?
Because since most of them are mostly they have their own startups and started their own projects, That's one of the reasons why, like in my case, I love startups as well for this reason, because you can be very flexible and it gives you the freedom. Like my brother, for instance, he tells me like, but even though you're creating all the startups, you have like a headache, right? Because you have like accounts and doing all kinds of stuff. But even though you might not become richer in terms of finances unless you really explode, but it does give you one thing, it gives you freedom, and freedom is priceless, in my opinion. So that's like the biggest paycheck, in my opinion.
Are you a rebel at heart?
Yes. I mean, I love going against all trends. I mean, even today, you know, like everyone uses jackets. I came with a cloak.
I saw your cloak, yeah, that was quite cool. That was quite cool.
Always trying to be different.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen one like that actually, with the pockets on the side kind of thing. No, I thought it was unique. It says a lot about your own identity as well, you know.
Exactly.
And I think that's where the whole digital nomad movement came from. Today it's becoming more of a mainstream thing because remote working has become so accepted. But the digital nomading actually started from that counterculture movement, that counterculture space.
Exactly.
So, have you been following it for a few years?
I've been on the road for quite a while.
Would you like to tell us more about LEET? Anything else that people should know to expect in the future, other than where they can actually get on the app at beta.leet.com?
Exactly. So they can visit at LEET on beta.leet.mt. It's still a beta, so we still are ironing out some stuff, but most of the functionality is there. We do plan on expanding, so even though it might not look so much at the moment, but we definitely have like tons of exciting plans down the line.
Do you have I have one more question for you. Do you have an opinion on the local startup scene? Like, anything you think can be done better, or?
In my opinion, banks should change their mentality when it comes to startups. I think that's one of the biggest blockers in Malta, in my opinion.
I know what you mean. It's very difficult to open bank accounts. It keeps, especially if you're a young person.
And even as a customer, you know, at the bank where you've been banking with them for years, they still give you a hassle when it comes to opening a bank account for a company or a startup.
Did you open your bank account for LEET in Malta?
Yes, we did, after a lot of hassle, but we did manage eventually.
All right, guys. So that was a startup story with Mark from LEET. Being a startup community, as he mentioned, head over to beta.leet.mt.
Exactly.
And now's the time to give feedback to these kind of new ventures. If you have any ideas that you think that they should take on, I'm sure they'll be very receptive. Maybe you've used an app in another country that might be similar, and you have some feedback for LEET. Go there, give it to them, and maybe we can form some football team inside the Malta Startup Space to get some support going for local startups. So thank you, Mark, for joining us, and we'll see you at the next episode.